All kinds of baseball cards to go through. These are the Alaska baseball team sets and all-star sets from Fairbanks. It's the Alaska Gold Panthers of Fairbanks. We're going to go through these and kind of review for you what they are. The first sets were made in 1988, and these are spectacular. It's the most successful amateur baseball team in the history of the world. More national championships and titles and international titles than anyone. Based out of Fairbanks, Alaska. Been playing the Midnight Sun games since the early 1900s. And this is the first team set from 1988. These are players that are in college level or the best out of high school that go on to play in college or professional baseball. And this would be Brett Boone's first card right here from 1988. Brett Boone, of course, went on to have a great career with the Mariners. His brother Aaron, the manager of the Yankees. But Brett certainly was great ball player up in Alaska. His father, Bob, played for the Alaska Gold Panthers as well. Maya Bradbury was a catcher. Loyola Marymount, I believe. Joey Kane was the pitcher. Ed Zinter played there. Darrell Deek had a great minor league career. Jim Richardson was coaching staff. Rick Allen, Mark Ronan. All these guys played in the minors. Eric Schulstrom, David Burr, Bud Childress, Jason Heisey, Mark Sunkel, Rod Klopfer. He's a gentleman who actually in some of the videos we've talked about, he worked with All World Sports and was my distributor for several years with the baseball cards. Ben Johnson, Greg Brummett, great pitcher, Eric Desjardins. So that's the 1988 team set. That was our first effort at a baseball card set out of Alaska. Was done as copyright in 1988, the Alaska Gold Panthers. Photos are by Stu Rothman, the Lens Unlimited. Next up, we're going to go through I believe this is the 1970s All-Star set. And I believe I didn't get many of the pictures there on 88, but we'll do better here. So you'll recognize a lot of these names. Here's Don Slott, Pete Redfern, Greg Harris, Dave Winfield. Yes, that Dave Winfield. There he is in his Alaska uniform. Tim Wallach, Floyd Bannister, Steve Kemp, Tim Leary, Scott Sanderson, Ed Vandenberg, Mike Boddicker, and Dave Smith. All major leaguers, all played in the Fairbanks team in the 1970s. And that's an all-star set that was made. This one was produced in 88. You can tell by the blue border. So again, the Dave Winfield is the highly priced collectible out of that set. There's a 60 set, which I still can't find one, that has a Tom Seaver card in it, which is a spectacular card. Here is the 1990s Panther set, I believe. Let's go through this one. If this is a complete set, it will have a Jason Giambi card, which is his first ever baseball card, and traded for several times its value back in the day when he joined the Yankees and did real well. Brent Ferguson, Scott Fleming, Steve Rodriguez. He's now the head coach at Baylor University Baseball. Walter Bills Jr., Brian Fonts, Marcelino Garcia, Todd Pridey. He played in the Marlins organization. Todd Winston, Alan Burke. This is Jerry Stafford and Gary Wilson. Gary Wilson actually threw a perfect game against the Mexican national team in a tournament that year, 1990 in Ontario, California. Coaching staff with Mike Weathers. Actually, that's Jim Dietz. I'm sorry, Weathers was on the other team. Jim Dietz, the head coach there. Richie Juarez, pitcher. Jason Giambi, there it is. This is the best card to come out of Alaska as far as value and collectability and scarcity. And I believe there was actually a flood at one of their warehouses up there several years ago, and many of these cards were wiped out. So it's a very scarce card. It's his first official card from an official baseball team. Card number 6 of the 1990 set, Jason Giambi. There's Steve Dietz, Chad Uehara out of Hawaii, Steve Simpson, Scott Dennison, Brian Holiday, and then, of course, the 1990 U.S. Open Championship team from 1990. What a great year. What a great special team. Fantastic ball players, great pitching, great hitting. But that's the 1990 actual team. We're going to go over the next. This is the Panthers prospects and specialty cards. I'm actually going to break the seal on this one. If I can get it open without breaking the package here. This has some highlight cards and specialty cards that were produced. This is the 1990 set. So there's Tom Goodwin. Had a great major league career. Now he's coaching in the majors. Ben Hines was a star of the 90s. He coached at Arizona State University and with the Los Angeles Dodgers. There's Dave Winfield as a pitcher. He came up to Alaska as a pitcher, much like Mark McGuire did in Anchorage. So there's Dave Winfield in a pitching, which is unusual. Oda B. McDowell Jr., Mark Davis, and Shane Mack. You might recognize all those names from the major leagues. They were known as the $1 Million Outfield, way back when $1 million was a lot of money. And they played up there. Look at this one. Here's Dave Winfield in snowshoes and a parka in the wintertime up in Alaska. He came up to do some special fundraisers and things. What a great guy. What a great contributor and a give back kind of a guy. Tim Leana, Roger Smithberg, Mike Kelly. Here's Tom Seaver and Red Boucher. Red Boucher started the Alaska team in the 1960s, and Tom Seaver, of course, played there in the 60s. Recently passed away, Hall of Famer. Kevin Higgins, coach at UNLV, played in the pro ball. Bob Hamlin, major leaguer. And then here's the Ray Boone, Ray Ike Boone, Bob Boone, and Brett Boone. So 3 generations of the Boones with the Fairbanks team. And, of course, Aaron Boone playing down in Anchorage. So lots of history, lots of tie into baseball with the Fairbanks team. Here's the 1970s All-Stars. Open this one up. Try not to destroy it. There we go. This one here, players, I'm sorry, these are 80s. These are people who played in the 1980s up in Fairbanks. Ron Romanek. There's Shane Mack. 87 World Series with the Minnesota Twins. Bob Sebra. Louis Medina. He's now a special assistant to the general manager of the Kansas City Royals. Played in the Bigs. Harold Reynolds. Definitely a superstar. He's now on MLB TV, I believe. Seattle Mariners. Here's Mike Harkey. Alvin Davis, Rookie of the Year, 1984, I believe. Joe McGrain pitched in the big leagues. Kevin McReynolds with the Mets and with the Padres. There's Don Heinkel and Dan Plesac. And then Oda B. McDowell. All those players in the 1980s went on to major league careers. Comes in the 1980s All-Star set. Then the final set I have here is actually, this is a duplicate of what we just looked at. So I apologize for the confusion here, as I've got a couple of duplicates in different holders. So those are the sets from Alaska that I currently have on hand. You can look them up online. You can check out Alaska Gold Panther Baseball. The Alaska League Baseball websites are out there. And check out all the different cards. There's the Anchorage cards, Anchorage Bucks, Anchorage Pilots. A lot of different teams up there produce some great ball players. Everyone from Randy Johnson and Mike Piazza on to other players. Corey Snyder we talked about. There's so many players from Anchorage and Fairbanks and Kenai and the Matsu Miners. And then there's a team from Hawaii and from the Palouse Empire Cougars out of Washington State area. And then also San Francisco and all over the place have joined the Alaska League over the years. And then they would go on to the national championship in Wichita, Kansas. But again, thanks for watching this one. What a great card. Look at that, the Boones. Look again here at the Dave Winfield card in snowshoes. And then, of course, the $1 Million Outfield. And then my favorite is Dave Winfield pitching. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on another live broadcast with more baseball cards.